Bambi is released, which would be Walt Disney's fifth feature film. It wasn't a real success at first because it was released during a time when some parts of the world were reduced to rubble. Also, an absolute travesty. Ocean liner SS Normandy catches fire at Pier 88 in New York City and capsizes. It was and is such a tragedy to see such an Art Deco ship to meet that demise. The year is 1942, and today we have automotive royalty. This is the very last Packard Darrin ever made. It was also owned by Gene Autry. But before getting into all of it, I'm Jay. Welcome to What It's Like, the automotive channel that digs the lost and forgotten cars no one else cares to talk about. This channel is home for the orphan cars. If you're new to the channel, just stumbled upon it for the very first time, you have hit the proverbial jackpot. This is our 525th episode. We post between 4 and 5 episodes each week, with engine episodes generally on Wednesdays. I'm not yapping. I'm just giving you a summary. I'm just telling you what this channel is about. It's almost like reading the back of a book. And also, this is so much more than a car channel. This is a car community that I am very much a part of. If any of that sounds of interest to you, subscribe and hit the bell icon next to it to never miss a video. 1942 Packard model lineup. But before getting into all of that, this was the last year of pre-war Packard, and production would only last until February 42 because America was attacked on December 7th, 1941 at Pearl Harbor, Hawaii. The Japanese would bring us into World War II, so 1942 anything is very rare because in February of 42, Franklin Roosevelt, who was President of the United States, would bring manufacturing to a grinding halt in favor of war production. Packard would build the Rolls-Royce Merlin engine under license, the engine that won the war. It's also worth mentioning that at this point in time, 1942, all of the other independent luxury brands are gone. Think about it: Peerless, Pierce Arrow, which were the other three Ps along with Packard that made up the three Ps of prestige. Stutz is gone. Auburn, Cord, Duesenberg, they're all gone. Packard was the only luxury independent manufacturer to remain standing. Yes, Cadillac survived because it was protected by General Motors, the umbrella company, as well as Lincoln survived, but they were protected by Ford. Packard was the only independent luxury company to survive the Great Depression. 1942 Packard model lineup. You had this 6 in the proverbial basement, powered by the 245 cubic inch displacement 6, producing 105 horsepower, riding a 120-inch wheelbase, followed by the 8, powered by the 282 inline 8, 125 horsepower, riding the same 120-inch wheelbase. Then you had the Super 8 160, powered by the 356 inline 8, producing 165 horsepower, offered on 3 different wheelbase configurations: 127, 138, 148. Then you had the custom Super 8 Series 180, which was powered by the same 356 cubic inch displacement inline 8, 165 horsepower, offered on the same 3 wheelbase configurations as well: 127, 138, 148. And all new for 1942 was the Clipper. It was offered with all of the engine choices: the 245 6, 282 8, 356 8, offered in 2 wheelbase configurations, 120 and 127. Packard would ditch all of the other models for the Clipper after the war. Packard would offer the Darrin from 1937 through 1942, named after Howard Dutch Darrin, the guy who designed the car. He was a freelance designer. Other cars he designed included, but not limited to, the Kaiser Manhattan and Kaiser Darrin, a car he designed completely on his own without Henry J's consent. Henry J's wife loved it so much they went in production. Packard offered the 180 from 1940 through 1942. The 1942 180 series was more or less reserved for formal sedans, touring sedans, 8-passenger sedan, and limo, riding a wheelbase of 138 or 148, but there was one outlier: the Darrin convertible Victoria, which rides a 127-inch wheelbase. It's the only car from the 180 series to ride that wheelbase. 1942 did see a bit of a facelift, so let's compare 41 on top, 42 on the bottom. Well, looking at these a little bit closer, the only major difference is the front fascia. The grills go from vertical to horizontal, and they updated the wheel covers. So we're going back one more year to 1940. So 40 on top, 42 on the bottom, starting in the front. And I wish these were at the same angle, but sometimes it's really hard to find the right angles from pictures on the internet. But everything is different. Packard Darrins from 1937 through 1940 have this low slung look, whereas the 41 through 42, the belt line rose. Headlights are mounted in canisters on the 40 versus inside the fenders on the 42. Marker lights on top. There are also fender marker lights on the 40 as well, but the lights in the canisters are mounted more inboard on the 40. The 40 has vertical grills, whereas the 42, the grills go from vertical to horizontal. Hood ornaments are also different. Moving to the side profile, the fenders on the 40 are way more curvier than the 42. Not to say that the 42 isn't curvy, they're just not as curvy as the 40s. Bead bars on both fenders on the 42. Both have gravel guards. Doors open different. On the 40, the door handle is at the base of the windshield versus the bottom of the swoop up on the door on the right side of the 42. Also notice just how different these look on the side profile. Moving aft, which gives you a better look at the door situation. There are 3 exposed rear hinges on the door on the 40 versus only 2 hinges at the front of the 42 door. Both have fender skirts, gas cap on the 40 versus gas door on the 42. The brake lights have been revised as well as bumpers. Exposed hinges on the 42 trunk deck lid. Jumping inside to take a closer look at the interior and dash situation, which both are completely different. Which one do you like better? Let's talk specs. This car rides a wheelbase of 127 inches. It weighs 3,920 pounds. Price, $4,708, which would be equivalent to you spending $90,744.53 in the year 2024, which is a fraction of what they go for now. It's also important to note that Packard increased their prices twice that year. This car started at a base price of $4,595. The median price was $4,708, and this car cost $4,783, which would be equivalent to you spending $92,190.12. Total 1940 Packard production was 33,776 units, of which total 180 series was only 672 units, and of that number, total Packard Darrins was 15. Moving on to engine, only one engine available for the Packard 180 series. That was the 356 cubic inch displacement inline flathead 8, 5.8 liters. This was said to be Packard's best inline 8, producing 165 horsepower at 3,600 RPM, an estimated 250 pound-feet or 338 Newton meters at 1,500 RPM with a bore of 3.5 inches and a stroke of 4.6 inches. 9 main bearings, hydraulic lifters. It is back to a 3-speed manual on the column with or without overdrive. As mentioned in the intro, this car is not only the last Packard Darrin ever made, it was also originally Gene Autry's car, who is best known for being the singing cowboy. He purchased the car new in 1942 and drove the car until 1951. Let's talk styling on this absolutely gorgeous car. Look at these bumpers. Check out this overrider. And then this overrider with the bumper bars. Also notice all of the detail inside that with the Packard emblem. It also has 180 stamped inside the bumper. Has this beautiful apron here to cover up the bars. Also notice how it dips down. Check out those bars, side grills. Beautiful center grille. Notice the headlights are placed in the fenders. They're no longer in canisters, with the beautiful bezels and fender lights. Center marker going back to the split windshield. Bright beads on the fenders. Also notice this car does not have running boards. Gravel guards on the rear fenders. Fender skirts. Nice bright bead bars. Gas filler is right there. Look at those brake lights. The back bumpers mimic the front bumpers, except for the fact that it only has one overrider bar. Packard script in the center. This one has an external cowl vent. Just take a look at how this windshield is designed. The side mirror. Look how this comes up. Also check out that door handle design. So check out this door panel. Feels like a leather material. Has a nice door mat pocket at the bottom there. There's also carpeting at the bottom. Window crank for the big window, door handle to get out. Coming down inside the pedal box down here, at the high beam switch, clutch, brake, gas pedal. Just take a look at this interior. Here's what over the hood would look like. Here's what first person over the hood would look like. Up above, there aren't any sun visors. There is a rear view mirror in the center, but no sun visors. On to the button switches and knobs, starting on the left hand, moving right, amp meter, gasoline gauge, high beam indicator, 110 mile per hour speedometer, odometer, and trip odometer at the bottom. There is a light to indicate the overdrive is in use, coolant temperature, oil pressure, headlights, instrument panel lights, overdrive. That one right next to overdrive, I'm not entirely sure what that does, but if I had to guess, I would guess that it resets the trip odometer. But like I said, I'm not sure. Lighter, heat, and defrost. You have direct on the left, off and center, indirect on the right, AM radio, ashtray, windshield wipers, clock, cowl vent. Taking a real quick gander under the hood, the engine sits way down inside. Notice all of the bars and bracing going on. This one has an oil bath air cleaner with a downdraft carburetor. Outside the block, oil filtration, which is in that black canister closest to us. On the positive side, timeless styling, awesome interior, great over-the-hood view, plushy seats. Super rare in 1942 with only 15 being produced. It's an epic car for people that know what these are. Against it, it's rare, so special trim parts are hard to find. It costs a fortune to restore it. Engine access is limited. Some people have no idea what this car is. All right, now it's time for Would You Rather. Two scenarios today. In the first scenario, would you rather have a 1942 Lincoln Continental convertible or 1942 Packard Darrin or 1942 Cadillac convertible? I'm going to leave this here for a minute. If you need more time, feel free, pause the video. On to the second scenario, 1937 Packard Darrin or 1940 Packard Darrin or 1942 Packard Darrin. Once again, going to leave this here for a minute. If you need more time, feel free, pause the video. Now it's time for Name That Tune. First person to get both the name of the band and the song title correctly in the comment section will have their comment pinned to the top of it. Thank you all so much for coming out and watching this. If you'd like to get in touch with me, shoot me a comment in the comment section below. We also have a Facebook group that correlates with this YouTube channel. It gives you the opportunity to share your rides, stories, experiences. Anything car related is a go on there. If you don't have Facebook and would still like to reach me, send me an email at what_its_like@yahoo.com. Thanks again for everything. I appreciate all the information that you guys share in the comment section. Until next time, toodaloo! Alright, this is the after party. This is all of the unused B-roll, so you could see this car in all of its glory. There isn't any music, so you could add your own music if you wish, or as Depeche Mode says, enjoy the silence.